Hello everyone. In our last episode, we showed you how GoInsight.ai integrates with a wide array of tools and apps. This allows you to easily chain together the systems you use every day, embedding AI capabilities directly into your existing workflows. However, if the system you need isn't currently in GoInsight.ai's apps list, or if you're dealing with a proprietary internal system that you still want to connect to GoInsight.ai, you can achieve this using the HTTP request node provided by GoInsight.ai. In this episode, we'll walk you through how to use the HTTP request node and demonstrate how it bridges the gap between internal and external enterprise systems. The HTTP request node is the node in InsightFlow designed to handle HTTP and HTTPS network requests. It visualizes complex HTTP protocol operations, allowing you to configure parameters without writing a single line of code. You can easily establish data interoperability with external APIs, web interfaces, and cloud services, enabling operations like data fetching, data pushing, remote triggering, and cross-system orchestration. Next, let's click Add Node to bring an HTTP request node onto our workflow canvas. Then, click on the node to configure it. You'll see configuration options for API, headers, params, and body. If you don't have a technical background, these settings might look a bit daunting. That's why we generally recommend using our pre-integrated apps to connect with your common systems. Typically, you can find these settings in the third-party API documentation. However, if you aren't a dedicated workflow builder or aren't familiar with APIs, you can simply send the API documentation link to our Insight chat. Just explain your requirements and ask the AI to guide you on how to fill in these fields. Here, we'll simulate connecting to a Google Search API via Rapid API. We'll provide the relevant links and our requirements to Insight chat. Based on that information, it gives us the operational details for this API. Let's try configuring the HTTP request node based on its suggestions. Now, let's test run this node to see the results. You can see the output returned a 200 status code, indicating our API request was successful, and we retrieved the content we needed via this API. It's worth noting that these configuration fields support dynamic variables. Of course, you can enter fixed content here, or you can insert upstream workflow variables. For example, here I'm inserting query as the search keyword. This feature is incredibly useful. In scenarios like ID-based lookups, using dynamic variables means you don't have to reconfigure the HTTP request node every time. In this Google search example, you can also pass this content to an LLM node and ask it to summarize the output for you. Let's go ahead and add an LLM node here. Now, let's rerun the workflow. As you can see, the LLM has processed the HTTP request results and provided us with a summarized output. Let's look at another use case to demonstrate how the HTTP request node integrates AI capabilities into common systems. This is a service-oriented workflow. I've created a scheduled task set to run this workflow automatically once a week. In the workflow build, we first use the date and time tool to generate a query time variable. We then insert this time variable into the HTTP request node. Through the HTTP request node, we connect to Hotspot to retrieve the customer list for the specified time period. Finally, we transfer the customer information fetched by the HTTP node to an LLM node, asking it to generate a weekly customer statistics report based on that data. This report is then sent to our Slack group. This simple example allows me to track my customer data weekly. Now, let's test run this workflow. You can see it shows the run was successful. The HTTP request output returned a 200, confirming the request succeeded. Let's switch over to Slack. It has already sent the results of the test run to the Slack group, confirming that our workflow has achieved the desired outcome. Of course, you might notice that InsightFlow also provides a Hotspot app. If you aren't familiar with APIs, you can absolutely use the apps provided by InsightFlow to achieve the same effect. The key value of the HTTP node is that when you need to link with internal systems or connect to a system not yet provided in GoInsight.ai, you can use this node to meet your requirements. One final point to add. You may have noticed that in the configuration page of almost every node in GoInsight.ai, we provide an error handling mechanism. Taking the HTTP node's error handling as an example, in real-world usage, if the API you're connecting to suddenly fails, or your configuration doesn't meet the API specifications, it can cause the HTTP node to report an error, potentially causing the entire workflow to stop running. Therefore, we've implemented error handling mechanisms for these unexpected occurrences. For instance, within the HTTP request node's error handling, you can choose to output fixed content. For example, when our API request fails or times out, I can have it return an API error. Alternatively, you can redirect the flow to another branch. For example, I can choose to terminate the process immediately after the HTTP request node reports an error, preventing a single node's failure from disrupting the entire workflow logic. Alright, that wraps up everything for this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.